Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist. Today, we are diving into a story that has set the Nigerian and British internet completely on fire. We are talking about the UK politician Kemi Badenoch. For those who don't know, she is a prominent figure in the Conservative Party, born in the UK to Nigerian parents, and she spent a significant part of her childhood in Lagos. But recently, she dropped a bombshell declaring that she no longer identifies as a Nigerian. Now, is this a simple or personal statement about identity that we should all respect, or is it a calculated political chess move from an ambitious politician who knows exactly what game she is playing? In the next few minutes, we are going to break it all down. But first, before I give you my full take, let's look at the news and the reactions that have been flooding the social media. So sit back and take a watch.
Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch has said she no longer identifies as Nigerian and has not renewed her passport since the early 2000s. Badenoch, who was born in the UK, grew up in both Nigeria and the US. She returned to England aged 16 because of Nigeria's worsening political and economic climate, as well as to continue her education. Speaking on former MP and television presenter Giles Brandreth's Rosebud podcast, she said she was Nigerian through ancestry, but by identity, I'm not really. Last year, Badenoch faced criticism from Nigeria's vice president, who said she had denigrated the West African country. Badenoch, who previously lived in Lagos, spoke at length about her upbringing on the podcast, External. I know the country very well. I have a lot of family there, and I'm very interested in what happens there, she said. But home is where my now family is. On not renewing her passport, she said, I don't identify with it anymore. Most of my life has been in the UK, and I've just never felt the need to. She added, I'm Nigerian through ancestry, by birth, despite not being born there because of my parents. But by identity, I'm not really.
Kemi, you complete me. Alright, where do we even start with the fact that she is claiming that she is no longer identifying as Nigerian? Let's start with the fact that this was the campaign that she used to become an MP in the first place back in 2010, where she explicitly begs local Nigerians in her community in London to elect her in order to get a Nigerian into Parliament. So she took from the culture when it benefited her, and then when it didn't, she completely abandons it. So just so we're clear, it's not just white people who can be guilty of cultural appropriation. Another point I want to touch on is the comparison with Suella Braverman, because here we've got Kemi Badenoch saying that she doesn't identify as Nigerian, and a couple of months ago Suella Braverman was saying that she can never be English. Because this is the beautiful thing about people who choose to tap dance for white supremacists, because they have to abandon every part of their identity that is somehow non-white or non-British. But at the same time, in order to be useful to white supremacists, they have to push the narrative that anybody who isn't white doesn't really belong here, which leaves them as nothing, because they've sold out both themselves in both directions and everybody who looks like them. And again, skill issue, because they seem to forget that you can be both British and Nigerian at the same time. Like, I was born in Darlington and I've lived in England, Scotland and Wales, so all three parts of Britain. I'm the literal definition of British. Meanwhile, I've got a fridge full of plantain to make dodo, and my freezer is packed to the brim with jollof rice that I made myself. On the other side of the sofa, let's just say I'm not fucking around. So some of us are able to be both British and Nigerian at the same time, and some of us tap dance for people who will never ever love us.
Kemi Badenoch, you cannot be more British than the British people. You cannot be whiter than a white man. Let me tell you something. I do not care if you associate with Nigerians, if you claim to be a Nigerian, I don't even care. It has no significance whatsoever to Nigeria's economy. It has no significance whatsoever to anything. So stop it. If you want to trend, you will mention Nigeria. Do your campaigns, do whatever you want to do without mentioning Nigeria's name. We don't also want you as a Nigerian. Remain British. Even the British people don't even want you. When I saw the post, her comment section was horrendous. Everybody is saying, you want to come as Prime Minister of the UK to fight immigration while you are an immigrant yourself. Make it make sense to me. You are fighting your origin. Because of what? To become a British? Is it possible for you to be more British than a British person? What exactly is your point? What if you like associate with Nigerians, so if you like don't associate? That is your business. Please keep it to yourself. If you don't associate with Nigerians, stop mentioning Nigeria as a whole. Want to come in and fight immigration so bad, and you are an immigrant yourself. Please take a chill pill, go and rest, go and sleep. Let's see if you actually become a British Prime Minister. Let us see if you can.
God have mercy upon us.
I can't stop laughing because just 2 days ago, Kemi Badenoch posted this. Britain is our home, not a hotel. She was talking to and about the immigrants. Now, you know, British people, white British people, let her know exactly what they think of her. Britain is not your home. Leave. Your mom lived in Nigeria but came to the UK to make sure you were born here. Now that's pathetic. Kemi, they want you deported too. Oh no. Who do you mean by our? Bear in mind that you are Nigerian. To complete her self-degradation, self-identity mutilation, Kemi Badenoch does the most coconutting thing racial gatekeepers do. Cuts off her roots. So she makes this big announcement, I no longer identify as Nigerian, in order to demonstrate to the racists that she's 1,000% committed to Britain in whatever capacity they will have her. Kemi burst into song. Kemi be like, no way, I'm Nigerian. No way, I'm Nigerian. No way, don't call me that. No, I don't love my fatherland. I want you to know. No way, I'm Nigerian. Don't call me that. Kemi Badenoch is having an existential identity crisis on a global stage, and I love this for her. Kemi Badenoch is putting all of her eggs in a very white basket, and I so love this for her. Kemi Badenoch is doing what she does best, politicizing and weaponizing Nigeria as political fodder. For her to send an unequivocal message to the British public saying, I no longer identify as Nigerian, and simultaneously sending an unapologetic message to the Nigerian public that she's cutting off any roots of identity with Nigeria, she is maligning Nigeria as a country and maligning Nigerians as a people. And about Nigeria, she says, never quite feeling that I belong there. Oyibo Kemi. This is the same Kemi who told the entire world a week or so ago that Nigeria won't let her pass on citizenship rights to her children because she's a woman. Of course it was a lie, because the kids will automatically get citizenship by descent. And then it turns out in this article that Kemi has not held a Nigerian passport in over a decade. Now, when the reckoning comes, and you know the reckon shall come, Nigerians will have the front row seats. My Niger brothers and sisters, what drink are you bringing to the reckoning? I've got my palm wine ready. I shall keep it chilled.
God have mercy upon us.
I can't stop laughing because just 2 days ago, Kemi Badenoch posted this. Britain is our home, not a hotel. She was talking to and about the immigrants. Now, you know, British people, white British people, let her know exactly what they think of her. Britain is not your home. Leave. Your mom lived in Nigeria but came to the UK to make sure you were born here. Now that's pathetic. Kemi, they want you deported too. Oh no. Who do you mean by our? Bear in mind that you are Nigerian. To complete her self-degradation, self-identity mutilation, Kemi Badenoch does the most coconutting thing racial gatekeepers do. Cuts off her roots. So she makes this big announcement, I no longer identify as Nigerian, in order to demonstrate to the racists that she's 1,000% committed to Britain in whatever capacity they will have her. Kemi burst into song. Kemi be like, no way, I'm Nigerian. No way, I'm Nigerian. No way, don't call me that. No, I don't love my fatherland. I want you to know. No way, I'm Nigerian. Don't call me that. Kemi Badenoch is having an existential identity crisis on a global stage, and I love this for her. Kemi Badenoch is putting all of her eggs in a very white basket, and I so love this for her. Kemi Badenoch is doing what she does best, politicizing and weaponizing Nigeria as political fodder. for her to send an unequivocal message to the British public saying, I no longer identify as Nigerian, and simultaneously sending an unapologetic message to the Nigerian public that she's cutting off any roots of identity with Nigeria. She is maligning Nigeria as a country and maligning Nigerians as a people. And about Nigeria, she says, never quite feeling that I belong there. Oyibo Kemi. This is the same Kemi who told the entire world a week or so ago that Nigeria won't let her pass on citizenship rights to her children because she's a woman. Of course it was a lie, because the kids will automatically get citizenship by descent. And then it turns out in this article that Kemi has not held a Nigerian passport in over a decade. Now, when the reckoning comes, and you know the reckon shall come, Nigerians will have the front row seats. My Niger brothers and sisters, what drink are you bringing to the reckoning? I've got my palm wine ready. I shall keep it chilled.
Okay, so as you can see, the reactions are intense. And they cover the entire spectrum from understanding to complete and utter outrage. Let us analyze what we've just saw. On one hand, you have Kemi's own words. She says she feels more connected to her life in the UK. That home is where my family is. And to be fair, identity is a deeply personal and fluid thing. She was born in Britain, has built her life and career there, and has every right to define herself however she wants. Many people in the diaspora can relate to feeling a disconnect from a homeland they didn't fully grow up in. That's a valid experience. But then, there's the other side, and this is where it gets complicated. As you saw in the clip, the backlash is fierce, and it's coming from several angles. First, there's the argument of hypocrisy. The most damning piece of evidence is that old campaign flyer from 2010 where she explicitly used her name, Kemi Badenoch, and appealed directly to the Nigerian community to elect a Nigerian in parliament. She used her Nigerian identity as a political tool when it benefited her to get her foot in the door. So, for her to now say she no longer identifies with it feels, to many, like a slap in the face. It feels like she took from the culture when it was useful and is now discarding it. Secondly, there is this political context. Kemi Badenoch is not just any person. She is a senior figure in the Conservative Party, a party that has taken a very hardline stance on immigration. Her statement is seen by many as a way to distance herself from her own immigrant heritage to appeal to the party's base. It's what some call tape dancing for white supremacy, performing a version of yourself that you think will be more palatable to the dominant power structure. You saw the comparison to Swela Braverman, another politician from an immigrant background who is famously tough on immigration. It is a pattern people are noticing. And finally, there's the simple feeling of betrayal for many Nigerians, both at home and abroad. Seeing someone of your heritage reach such heights is a source of pride, but when that person seems to publicly disown that heritage, it stings. It feels like she's saying the culture and the country she came from are something to be shared, something to move on from in order to succeed. So now, let me give you my take on all this. Look, I will always say that identity is personal. Nobody can tell you who you are, but we cannot pretend that these statements are made in a vacuum. This is not just Kemi from down the road talking about her feelings over a cup of tea. This is a high-profile politician making a public declaration, and in politics, every word is a calculation. To me, this is less about a personal identity crisis and more about a gold political strategy. She is positioning herself. She has ambition for the highest office, and she knows that in the current political climate of her party, being seen as a true Brit with no other allegiances is a powerful card to play. But here's an irony she and other likes like her seems to miss. You can't be both. Millions of us are. I am proudly Nigerian. My culture enriches my identity. It doesn't detract from it. To suggest that you must shed one to fully embrace the other is a false choice. And frankly, it's an insult to the millions of British Nigerians who probably hold both identities. She used her Nigerianness to get a seat to the table, and now that she is at the table, she's trying to pretend she wasn't the one who brought jollof rice. No, honey, things are not done that way. We remember, the internet remembers, her statement that she never quite felt that I belong there in Nigeria is particularly telling. It paints Nigeria as just a stopover, a difficult place she had to endure before getting to her real home. It reinforces negative stereotypes and provides political cover for policies that might be harmful to the very people who share her ancestry. So to me, this is the ultimate act of pulling up the ladder behind you. She's saying, I'm in, but the door is closed. And by the way, I was never really one of you anyway. It's a sad, cynical play, and I think people sees right through it. So what do you all think? Am I being too harsh, or is this a classic case of political opportunism? Is Kemi Badenoch simply expressing her personal truth, or is she weaponizing her identity for political gain? Drop your thoughts, your frustration, your agreement, your disagreement, all of it in the comment below. Let's have a real conversation about this. Thank you so much for tuning into Obas Trending Gist. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, hit that notification bell so you never miss the gist. Until next time, stay informed and stay talking. Bye for now.